Celestia Quicks writes about the kind of infrastructure that's invisible until it fails you, and then it fails you completely.
That's exactly the territory today. We're looking at phone number reputation systems, how they flag legitimate users, how internal carrier misconduct makes it worse, and what the real cost is when vulnerable people lose access to basic communications.
Let's start with how a clean number ends up labeled a threat.
The core tension here is that reputation systems designed to stop spam use behavioral signals. Call volume, answer rates, hangups, consumer reports that don't actually measure intent or legality. They measure patterns, and legitimate callers can match those patterns.
The Post puts it plainly. These systems do not primarily judge legality or intent. They flag behavior that statistically resembles spam. Even compliant, non-malicious use can cross thresholds designed for high-volume telemarketers or fraudsters.
So the upshot is that making a lot of calls for entirely legitimate reasons, medical coordination, caregiving, customer service, can get you labeled the same as a robocaller. The algorithm doesn't ask why you're calling.
And the ways this happens are specific. Recycled numbers inherit the prior owner's reputation. A handful of irritated contacts tapping report spam without even answering can accumulate into real damage. Low answer rates from recipients who screen calls look identical to robocall bounce patterns.
Stir-shaken attestation, the verification protocol carriers use, compounds this. A B attestation or lower worsens outcomes across the board, and third-party apps like Truecaller or RoboKiller pull from shared databases. So a flag in one ecosystem propagates widely.
The 2FA shortcode problem is where this gets genuinely serious, and it's more layered than it sounds.
Right. The carrier typically isn't the one blocking the code. Banks, payment platforms, and government portals query the number's reputation via carrier APIs before sending a verification SMS. If the number carries a flag, the platform refuses to send as a security measure on the assumption the number may be compromised.
So the user contacts the platform, gets told the message was sent successfully, contacts the carrier, gets told no flags exist. Neither party is lying about what their own system shows, but the customer is trapped between them with no way in.
The Post calls this mutual gaslighting across entities. And for non-tech-savvy users, there's no obvious path out of that loop. The most serious version of this isn't algorithmic at all. It's internal. The Post describes a documented pattern where employees access internal account notes for personal reasons, then reference that private information in informal channels like Instagram DMs.
When carriers detect anomalous internal access, automated security protocols apply fraud holds or reputational markers to the affected number as a protective measure. The intent is to flag insider threats. The result is that an innocent customer's number inherits a fraud marker that then feeds into external reputation databases.
And the carrier's response, per the Post, is denial. No flags exist. No CP&I violation occurred. Customer proprietary network information, call records, account notes, service requests is strictly protected under Section 222 of the Communications Act, and unauthorized access by employees constitutes a violation.
The FCC has levied real penalties for this. AT&T faced a $25 million fine for employees improperly accessing and distributing CP&I for nearly 280,000 customers. Major carriers were collectively fined nearly $200 million for location data mishandling.
For terminally ill, disabled, or isolated individuals, the downstream effects go well beyond inconvenience. Blocked 2FA locks people out of banking, Medicare portals, email and payment services. Disrupted calls to doctors, pharmacies, or emergency contacts become a health risk. The Post is direct. These effects are not hypothetical. They dismantle autonomy for those already navigating terminal illness, SSDI survival, and coercive control.
The remedies exist, but are uneven. The free caller registry lets businesses pre-register numbers with major carriers. Disputing flags with analytics providers like Hiya is possible, but slow. And propagation across systems means full cleanup is hard.
The Post's call is for structural change. Mandatory transparent logging of internal access, independent audits of fraud flags, faster delisting processes, and stricter FCC enforcement. Until then, the Post recommends documenting everything: screenshots, timestamps, third-party verifications, and escalating through FCC complaints and state public utility commissions.
A system built to protect people shouldn't be most dangerous to the people who need reliable communication most.
The through line is accountability for algorithms that punish the wrong behavior and for institutions that deny it when they're the source.
Next time, we'll see what else Celestia Quicks is watching. There's more infrastructure worth examining.